ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ प्रतिबोधविदितं मतम् अमृतत्वं हि विन्दते आत्मना विन्दते वीर्यम् विद्यया विन्दते मृतम् So pratibodha viditam matam. Matam, Brahman is considered known. There is a Brahma Jnana. When Brahman is known, viditam, so that is when we can definitely say that Brahman is known to me now. When I know Brahman as invariable consciousness and present in every cognition. In every cognition, what is self-revealing is Brahman. That is the consciousness. It is revealing itself. I have not to do anything. Only thing is I have to just recognize it. You will not have to even use any kind of a pramana, which is self-revealing, means it doesn't require any kind of a means of knowledge also. It is all the time revealing itself. May you know it and gain amrutatvam. Become free. Gain a freedom which you are seeking in your life. So simple it is actually. Because if it has to be revealed through pramana, etc., all the problems will come whether pramana is a proper or not. Pramana is a dushitam. When pramana is having some fault, then you will not get a knowledge of a prameya. Here self-revealing means you have not to do anything. Which is revealing itself. May you know it as a self-revealing invariable factor in every cognition throughout the life, in all the stages. Well, realize it as yourself, and that is limitless consciousness. You are the cause of everything. You pervade everything. You transcend everything. Whatever is present in the cognition, that is known, knower and the knowledge, everything is you, basically. And therefore, and yet you transcend them. You are all the three, and yet you transcend them because they are mithya and they are just names and forms. And you are the one who is the satyam of everything. And therefore, basically, by Swarupa you are not a knower. By Swarupa you are not any known object. By Swarupa you are not even a thought of cognitive thought called knowledge. Well, you are basically free from everything and free from the limitation of all the three, and you are limitless. And all the three are nothing but you. This is how it is. Like basically, beggar is an actor, but actor is not a beggar. This is exactly way we have to understand. So actor pervades the beggar, yet actor transcends the beggar also. And therefore this is how every part of the beggar is nothing but an actor. Right? Every part. The eye of a beggar is eye of actor. And then eyelash of the beggar is basically eyelash of actor. Everything. The hair is a hair of a beggar is a hair of actor. This is how it is. So actor pervades the beggar, but definitely actor transcends the beggar, because actor is the reality, while the beggarliness is mithya. It's just a vesha. It's just a costume. Anyway, so amrutatvam hi vindate, one indeed gains freedom from all forms of change. Mritatvam, death is nothing but the change. It's an happening, etc. So one who is no more ignorant of oneself, well, the self-revealing consciousness, being Brahman, well, gains this amrutatvam, because Brahman is amrutam. Basically, Brahman is timeless. You are that. So drop the notion that you are mortal. You have to do this much. Not that you have to gain some kind of immortality. Amrutatvam hi vindate, we are going to see in the next mantra. Vindate means gains. One gains amrutatvam. One gains immortality. Here there is no gain as such. Dropping the notion that you are bound to the death. Dropping the notion that you are bound to, subject to change. You are subject to birth and death. Well, that's a notion. Drop that notion. That's all. Nothing else to be done. Knowing that invariable consciousness which is present in every cognition is this timeless consciousness. It is limitless, timeless consciousness. Limitless means basically limitless in time, limitless in space and etc. Object-wise also limitless. Object-wise limitless means there is no object. Please understand. Object-wise limitless means there is no object. It's not that every object is there and then Brahman pervades every object like this. It pervades. Like that 10 children are sleeping and one big blanket is there. I cover everything and then I say, well, blanket pervades all the children. It is not like that. If such kind of idea is coming to your mind, drop it. Because the blanket is limited and the children are also limited, and that kind of a pervasion will not be there. Limitless means there is no object. That's all it means. There is no limitation. The object cannot cause limitation, but then there are objects. Yeah, that's how we say. Object is non-separate from basically consciousness or the Brahman, and Brahman pervades all the objects means there is nothing called object. Basically object is just a Maya, nothing else, and the name also is Maya. Name and forms, everything is basically Brahman alone. Brahman pervades everything and transcends everything, therefore there is nothing called object. So we should understand this very well. Space-wise limitless also means the whole space exists in, Brahman. Brahman is not pervaded by space. Brahman pervades the space. This is how we have to understand. And therefore space is also mithya, like I have told you the object is mithya. Space also is mithya. And therefore it's not that space-wise limitless means we try to think, we go into the corners of mind and we will see that everything is Brahman. Like that. Don't try to think that way, because limitless can never be an object of your thought. So drop that idea. The very cognition, in cognition, this invariable consciousness that is the subject, I is limitless. Means I pervade everything, I transcend everything. Everything has existence in me. Well, I have no my existence does not depend upon anything else. I am the self-existent, self-revealing consciousness. That is the knowledge, and that is where there is no objectification of Brahman here. So Brahman, that's how, earlier it has been told, viditad anyadeva viditad atho viditad adhi. Brahman is something which is distinct from the known and distinct from unknown, and Brahman is in the form of a knower, and then ultimately, knower is Brahman, but then definitely everything else also is Brahman. So the knowledge I am liberated, of course, necessarily be a fact that is already accomplished. And I am feeling bound, and if I keep on saying that I am liberated, that's not going to work. I am bound is a notion, then I am liberated also is a notion, basically. But I have to be free, but liberation, has to be non-separate from myself in terms of consciousness, which is timeless, etc. It has to be known like that. So bondage is centered on the I, and of course the knowledge also is centered on the I. He, amrutatvam hi vindate. He means because. Yasmat. So because one gains the freedom. Amrutatvam vindate means one gains the freedom by this knowledge of oneself as Brahman. Tadeva brahmatvam viddhi. So I should know it as a Brahman. One gains Amritattvam right now because you are Amritam. That's all you have to know. You are free. Moksha is nothing but knowing that I am free. Moksha is not something to be gained in life. So far as moksha, if one has a mindset that moksha is something to be gained and I am a mumukshu, so then definitely he has no clarity of the knowledge. He has no clarity. If you consider yourself as a mumukshu and moksha is something, a purushartha or a goal of your life, then definitely yet lot of homework has to be done. Well, no more moksha you don't no more consider as something goal of your life, and you don't no more consider yourself as a mumukshu, then the knowledge has done and Mahavakya has worked, Mahavakya has done the job. So basically I am free and I should know. I have no limitation of time and time exists in me. I have no limitation of object, all objects exist in me. I have no limitation of space, etc., place, etc. That also exists in me. They all are mithya, and I am the one, well, definitely transcend all the three. It may be a desha, it may be a kala, it may be a object, vastu. I am the one who is pervading everything. The Brahman is called aparichinnam, limitless. Well, desha kala vastu aparichinnam Brahma, that is how it has been defined. So, desha kala vastu aparichinnam is this, space-wise limitless, time-wise limitless, and object-wise limitless. So this is this is how this is called a spiritual pursuit. Knowing Atma as Brahman is a spiritual pursuit. That's all. This is. Anyway, now the question is, if everything is Brahman and if one gains freedom by just recognizing oneself at this moment itself that I am Brahman, then what about these various lokas and accessories and agent of an action and object of an action and the varieties of the accessories of the action? All this is also, what is the role of that? What is the role of karma basically? What's the role of karma? If because that you are saying you will take a cup of tea and sit down in the chair and gain amritattvam, then where is the question? What? Because your Veda, Upanishad talks about this, but the way it is just one page. Other 9,999 pages talk about the action, karma, an agent of action, accessories of action, object of action, Swarga etc. is an object of action. You are the Yajamana is an agent of an action, and he employs varieties of the accessories. And there are 9,999 pages of this karma kanda, and one page of Ishavasya and one page of Kenopanisad, which talks about this Brahman. And then, if everything is useless, ultimately everything is Brahman and I am Brahman and I have to claim that, and by knowledge, that's all, dropping the notion and, I am agent of action, etc. All these things I have to drop, they are all mithya. Whatever is there is Brahman alone. And therefore, agent is a karta is a Brahman, and then karma also is a Brahman. Brahmarapanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam. Everything is Brahman. Whatever is involved in that yajna karma, everything is Brahman. The Yajamana is Brahman, and the Chamas is Brahman, and the Ahuti is Brahman, and Agni is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Okay, keep your Brahman. But you explain me, what about this 9,999 pages? What about that? So that's how the Upanishad also has to tell that. So definitely, Amritattvam hi vindate, that's all right. But then it says Atmana vindate viryam. Atmana vindate viryam. Here Atmana is not Ithambhute, I am sorry. It is in terms of a sadhana. It's a karana, it's an instrument. Atmana means Atma prayatnena. Vindate viryam. One gains a strength for the knowledge, for gaining this knowledge. Brahmajnanam, you need a strength. You require a courage. Swamiji used to tell, you require a courage to gain this knowledge. Definitely. So, we'll talk in the next verse. Many people lose, many people, give up this path. They tell me also very clearly, Swamiji, I understand it is very profound and very this and logical and that, but I'm sorry, I can't understand this. I don't think I will be able to pick up this thing that I am Brahman, etc. I have full Shraddha, but I am not capable. Yeah. So that's what some people give up the pursuit. Well, so it requires, that is how Kenopanisad says, Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam pathastat kavayo vadanti. Kshurasya dhara. It's literally, because even though limitless and self-revealing and everything and present is so intimately, there is nothing intimate than this. So one cannot miss it, but one will always miss it. One always misses it. That is the thing. That's how it is really a Kshurasya Dhara. It's like a sword's edge, you are walking on sword's edge. And Nishita Duratya, Durgam Patha. It is very difficult terrain. Tat Kavayo Vadanti. Kavayaha means this Manishi. All these Jnanis described as a very, very difficult path. Even though self-revealing. That's all. That's how some people tell me, what, you are all the time telling that's all. What that's all? What is that's all? It is not that's all. Even though it is self-revealing and nothing is near than this I. I is very near to the I. Yeah, it's most intimate. And it is aparoksham. And that is Brahman, even though it has been revealed, it is not that simple. One has to gain strength. Well, 9,999 pages give you the strength. That's what it is. Atma Prayatnena, by one's own efforts. Efforts means what? Karakas are there. What are the karakas? Karakas means karayati iti karakah. Karayati. One helps you in your pursuit. One helps to put efforts. All the accessories are there without which you cannot put any effort. That's called, effort means karma. All the karma, so whatever helps you for accomplishing the karma, etc. That's all called karaka. The first karaka is a karta karaka, the agent of an action, agent of an effort. And then object of effort, and then there are instrument, and then sampradhanam, etc., prayojanam, and there is apadanam, there is adhikaranam, etc. All these are karakas. There are different accessories by which one can gain. Definitely, one can accomplish any karma. So here, all efforts are karma, and that involves one's prayer, and one's dharma, one's attitudes, values, and etc., one's meditation, all this become useful. All have a role ultimately in giving you a strength so that you can gain knowledge. So definitely, Viryam means a strength for gaining knowledge. It's called Viryam. And Atmana means Atma Prayatna, which involves our efforts. Efforts means all karmas. Karma means all these karakas, etc., etc. And therefore, all this meditation is useful. Everything is useful. Whatever is there in every page of 9,999 pages is useful. And therefore, nothing is redundant in Veda. All this thing is useful. And then you turn off the page, and you just see the Upanishad is there, which will work for you, because you already gained the strength. So a life, definitely, all this constitute a life that is very, very meaningful. And before, of course, entering into the Veda, one has to have a Purushartha Nishchaya, definitely. That is very, very essential. Otherwise, these pages are, the initial pages of the Veda will disorient you. Because they are showing you so many types of phalams, so many types of results, every result you will feel that this you should have. Like you go to a shopping mall and you find everything is useful. You can run your life without all this. But once you go to shopping mall, you feel that, this is also useful in my life, this is also useful in my life. And you keep on purchasing. People go sometime just to visit. In India, sometime, in a summer, in the afternoon, it's very hot. And so you get tired, a lot of problem in your home because you don't have air conditioner. So what they do is they just take a visit of a shopping mall which is air conditioned, and they keep moving in there for 2 hours. They don't buy anything. But the people go with that such an idea that we'll not buy anything. We'll have just a look. Nobody comes out with without having a full bag of the things. Everything you find useful. This is how it is. So if one has to enter into the Karmakanda with a certain attitude, otherwise it will not work. So Purushartha Nishchaya has to be there. That what I want in my life is just a freedom. What I want in my life is this freedom from this bondage, freedom from fear, freedom from sadness, whatever you say. All that is what I want. And knowledge only helps me. And therefore there is only one pursuit in my life, and that is moksha, freedom. And all other pursuits are, absorbed into the pursuit of moksha. Artha is basically between artha and moksha. I don't have a choice. Yeah. Purushartha nishchaya means basically you know that you have one purushartha called moksha. So the ultimate end should be clear, and then you enter into karma kanda. Well, the whole karma kanda, different karmas are there. They become karma yoga for you, and you gain strength through that. So karmas performed for the sake of moksha, then it gains a status of a yoga, and then you will not be entangled in that section. You will definitely cross the boundaries and come to the jnana. So Atmana in general, here instead of Atmana we could have written Karmana also. But one talk Puja Swamiji said Karmana vindate viryam, vidya vindate amrutam. That's how in Ahmedabad he said like that. So we were thinking where this kind of a mantra is not there. Karmana vindate viryam, vidya vindate amrutam. So karma and jnanam helps. So we were searching where is that statement. But Puja Swamiji translated Atmana as a Karmana. Well, Atma Prayatna means is equal to Karmana. Any discipline that one pursues is validated by one word, Atmana, means it includes everything. Our values are there, attitudes are there, meditations are there. Values and attitudes, you cannot call it as a karma, right? All moral values, your Devi Sampatti, etc. So Atmana is better. So basically, Atmana, that word covers everything. Karmana does not cover. So Atmana means basically one gains that, with this Atma Prayatna, one gains the readiness for the knowledge. Anyway, and then Atmana Vindate Viryam, so has another meaning also, and that is closer, much more. The self-knowledge takes place. Atmana here, you can interpret as a manasa. Atmana vindate viryam means manasa vindate viryam. So definitely the mind has to be together and tranquil, and because to recognize one's true nature, the mind should not be bahirmukham. Any mind which is extrovert is a weak mind. That's all it is. Mind which is extrovert is a weak mind, and therefore one mind should not be looking for something else. If it should have a strength, then it should be introvert. And so definitely, so the mind which is together, which is focused, which has a purushartha nishchaya, etc., well, one gains through that, such a mind one can gain a viryam, means the power of knowledge, which has the capacity to destroy ignorance. And therefore mind should have all this. That's how, this damaha and shamaha, all these are we have discussed this. This damaha is something which does not allow your mental capabilities to seep away. It's like they say that it's a pot which has 5 holes, and if you fill up the pot with the water, but if through the 5 holes it constantly going away, and so pot again becomes empty. So we have 5 holes here, and through that, through those senses, if the senses all the time revel in the sense objects, definitely the mind also has to be there along with, and mind loses ultimately the capacity, its power. And therefore, if you want to have, if you want to save the mental capabilities, etc., well, you have to plug all the senses, which is called damaha. Anyway, so what I am saying is ultimately all this Atmana Vindate Viryam means such kind of mind is required, which is having a vairagyam, which is having a shamaha, damaha, etc. All that is required. And with such mind, one can definitely have a strength of knowledge by which you can destroy this ignorance. This is Mula Vidya. It is not simple. It is not ignorance pertaining to some object or something. This is the ignorance which is the cause of the entire creation. You can imagine, if prajna is not there, where is the question of going further in the creation? There is a joint venture between a prajna and Ishvara. Yesterday only I told you. If prajna itself is not there, where is the joint venture? What is that joint venture? The creation. If karma itself is not there, how the Lord will create? Lord has to create as per Jiva's karma. Samashti or Vyashti. Either. Samashti karmas give rise to the objects. And Vyashti karma give rise to a Sharira. So that is how basically, ultimately, the prajna is responsible means basically ignorance is responsible. Ignorance is responsible. That's how sometimes instead of Maya they call ignorance or Vidya is a cause of the creation. That is very true. Very true. And therefore this such a Mula Vidya, it doesn't go, it is Anadi. It doesn't go easily. And therefore you should have a strength in your mind to knock off. And then that mind should have a certain capacity. So Atmana means, Manasa means this kind of a mind which is having a certain mastery and which has a certain capabilities, and definitely with that mind one can knock off. So that is Viryam means a strength to knock off the ignorance, which is Anadi, which is beginningless. Okay, what do you gain by that knowledge? It says Vidya Vindate Amrutam. Vidya Amrutam Vindate. One gains freedom from time-bound life by that knowledge. Amritam means you. Moksha is you. Moksha means you. Moksha means freedom, but Swami, yeah, you are free. You are freedom. So own up that freedom. So you have one has to know it. That's all. So Vidya means by cognition, and definitely Pratibodha Viditam Matam we have seen also. So in every cognition, well, this moksha is present. I mean, in form of you. In form of Brahman, limitless Brahman, it is present. The knower, knowledge, everything is myself, which is Brahman, that is Satyam. It is present in every cognition. It is one whole. That's how it is one whole. There is no parts together make a whole. Parts together cannot make a whole. Whole means whatever is there is mithya inside. Like dream. Understand this. Now I don't want to go because you are saturated with this mantra. Now, therefore, I think basically, but this is how you pick up all the words of my one request to all of you is go through this Kenopanisad book of Swamiji carefully, very carefully, very carefully. Understand every word, don't gloss over. When Swamiji says it has a lot of meaning in it, and I am trying to, of course, partially explain to you from the book. Anyway, so it's one whole. Whole is whole. Parts cannot make a whole. So whatever is in the whole, that is knower, known, knowledge, everything, they are mithya, basically. Knower plus known plus knowledge is equal to whole. No, it is not. It's not. We should understand all these things from Pujya Swamiji. That it is, otherwise it's a gloss over. Whole means, okay, Swamiji, go ahead. Brahman is whole, I am whole, etc., etc. Purnamadah, Purnamidam, I am whole, that is whole, this is whole. Purnat, Purnamudachyate. And therefore, and then Shanti. Okay, Swamiji, goodbye. So not that. Whole means basically whatever is involved in the cognition is Brahman. But cognition involves all the three, but all the three are mithya. Therefore whole. So in the dream, well, the knower of the dream and the known, whatever is known in the dream world, everything is one whole. Because you cannot separate the consciousness and the knower of the dream. The consciousness and the dreamer, consciousness and the objects of dream. You cannot separate. Try to separate. Try to find a boundary. You cannot find. The very dreamer is in consciousness, and even the object of dreams are in consciousness. And the very dream process itself also is in consciousness. And that is how everything is consciousness alone. All these are just superimposition upon the whole, the consciousness. And so that is how, this is Vidya Amritam Vindate. Vidya is in third case, but don't take it as some means. So by the means of knowledge, I gain Amritam. No. In the form of Vidya. It is in the form of Vidya. Moksha is in the form of Vidya. Like by eating, I remove the hunger. Yeah, but eating is not a means here. In the form of eating, you remove the hunger. You have to understand this way. In the form of eating. In the form of Vidya. So this Vidya is Itham Bhute. Here Vidya is not a means of moksha. No. Vidya is not a means of moksha. Vidya, in form of Vidya alone, the moksha is there. Because already I am Brahman. I don't know and I have other notions, that's a problem. So, it is like, and therefore, so very gain of knowledge is indeed the Amritatvam, and therefore, knowledge is cause and moksha is the result. That's a way we say, but actually, in the form of Vidya itself, there is a moksha. Because I am free, I should know it. That is a Vidya. I should know that I am free. And therefore, in the form of Vidya itself, it is moksha. Okay, let's go to mantra 5. Iha cheda vedit atha satyamasti na chediha vedi mahati vinashtihi bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhiraha pretyasman lokadamrita bhavanti. Iha cheda vedit. See, here it is giving a warning. Making you awake, if you are sleeping something. Iha cheda vedit. If one were to know here that there is a truth in one's life, well, if one were to know here this Brahman, when there is a truth in life, otherwise you will be in a dreaming, you will be in a dream. Or if one were not to know here, then there is a great loss, mahati vinashtihi. And knowing this, bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya, knowing this truth in every being, the wise people become immortal, living from this body, etc. So Shruti, of course, is telling here also some result of this self-knowledge. We have already seen that vidya vindate amritam, etc. And vindate means one gains amritam, etc. So the gain is nothing but the gain of oneself here. And therefore, it's a knowledge of the fact of oneself. And in the gain of oneself, well, this is a very typical kind of a gain. Generally, gain means there will be some increase, there will be some improvement to oneself. Like I have a certain wealth, and a gain of wealth means what? Whatever wealth is there, some more wealth has been added into that. That's called gain. But here you gain yourself. Means what will be added to you? Nothing is added to Atma as such. So this gain does not seem to be gain at all. So definitely a big question is, well, how do you call it as a gain? Vindate. Vindate means to gain. So definitely amritatvam hi vindate, we say. He gains amritatvam. But actually it is in the form of oneself. Then if it is in the form of oneself, there is no gain. Gain means there should be improvement. What is improvement in oneself? There is no improvement as such. So, well, the Shastra says if you don't recognize it, iha ched na vedit, etc., there will be mahati vinashti. It is a big loss. There is no gain as such. So once it is a gain, then it is subject to basically to loss, because anything gained is lost in time. And here, well, this gain is such in which there is no loss. And so what vindate is basically commented out here, that to show that it is not the usual, the way you think of a gain, it is not that kind of a gain. So it's more, the gain is in terms of knowing yourself, and if you don't know, there will be a big loss. That's we'll discuss that. So if you don't recognize yourself as a Brahman, there is a big loss. The loss is infinite. That's how Pujya Swamiji always used to discuss this also. So the non-recognition is a loss. If you recognize yourself, which you are already, then that is gain. So as such, that gain is in form of oneself. That self is Brahman. So when the non-recognition is a loss, the recognition naturally becomes gain. That's all it means. Recognition of oneself as a Brahman is a gain. If you don't recognize it, there is an infinite loss. Because Brahman is infinite. So if you don't recognize yourself as an infinite, then definitely your loss also will be infinite. That's what it wants to convey. So this non-recognition is very, very universal, and not only that, you don't recognize yourself. You have a self-ignorance, but you have self-perception also, which is misperception. So all these things are there, and that is a heavy loss. If you don't recognize yourself, there will be heavy loss. How much of a loss is it? Well, it says it is limitless. Now, because you are limitless. You don't know that you are limitless, and therefore the loss is limitless. That's what it means. So Mahati Vinashtihi. Mahati Vinashtihi means, the loss is infinite. As such, this many things. Knowledge itself gives you so much gain. You are limitless. Yeah. As such, if you know something or if you don't know something, there is not a big loss and big gain. Like, what is the 5th president of United States? What was 5th president of United States? You said, well, Swamiji, forget about it. Go ahead. And what was a number of Gandhiji's spectacles? Now, who bothers? Who bothers? Suppose he was wearing specs and he was having some numbers. I mean, the power may be there, but I don't know. But it's not a big thing. Even if if I know it, if I don't know it. And you are saying if you know, it will be a big gain, and if you don't know, it will be a big loss. We don't consider that way. So, well, definitely, even though the subject matter of knowledge may be something big called Brahman, what is the big deal in that? If you know means you will gain something big, and if you don't know, the loss is infinite. And what do you want to convey all this? So, well, the teacher says this is an absolute deal, because any gain involves a loss. Any gain involves a loss. We'll discuss that. So, well, so this is a very absolute deal. If one were to know, not to know this Brahman in this life, well, Mahati Vinashtihi, a great loss. In fact, the gain of Brahman is the gain of infinite. And so, not knowing Brahman is an infinite loss, which I have already told you. So, but you say, well, let the loss be infinite. So what? I don't mind. I don't mind. Well, you do not want to lose whatever you hold dear. Understand that. You don't want to lose whatever you hold very dear. You will definitely, lose all of them. Either you depart, or by departure of all the things which you hold it so dear to you. Either way. When one dies, well, one leaves behind everything, which is very dear to the person. One's house and bank balance and whatnot. Possessions, everything. And the person, had his or her heart in everything, so dear to it. And at the time of death, well, one leaves all this. So, or one may lose basically them even while living. So, but definitely this is regarding other than yourself. But we are talking about you. You are infinite, etc. So the gain of Brahman cannot be the lost, because you are Brahman. Even if you claim that I am not Brahman, I am not limitless, that is not going to alter the fact. And therefore, this is the gain. If you know it is a gain, infinite gain, because you are a Brahman basically. And that is a fact of it. And this fact, you cannot lose Brahman, because you are Brahman. You can lose any other thing which is other than you. And if you know, then the gain is infinite and without a loss. Without a loss, basically. And therefore, this is the only thing, this is the only gain in which there is no loss. If there is any other gain other than yourself, it may be of a possession, wealth, or any of a person, let's say, you may lose one day. Or whether either you go away from them or you lose them. Either way. But you are Brahman if you know, and that's a gain which has no loss forever. Could you follow? So this is an absolute deal. That's how it's an absolute deal, in which you have a maximum gain. You have absolute gain, and there is no loss. That's only. Therefore, we are saying Iha cheda vedit atha satyamasti na chediha vedit mahati vinashtihi. If you don't know this, well, the loss is infinite. If you know it, well, the gain is absolute, because you are Brahman. You are absolute. And the word here iha is used here. Here, iha means in this body, asmin sharire. When the jiva is alive, one has to know this. So human body is called, adhikari shariram, and because it is qualified for this vidya, for the moksha. So Ishvara has given this human body, not by his choice, we have seen that also, but by jiva's one's own karma, he is gaining that body. So jiva, basically earned this chance, this opportunity in the form of a human body. And in this, being in this human body, one can gain so much of punya papas, or one can even become free from the punya papas. Both the possibilities are there in this body. And so this sharira is really a chosen one among all the shariras, so which is eligible for both, for gathering punya papas or for coming out of this entire punya papa chakra, punya papa cycle. Well, the desire for freedom from this punya papa is not again open to choice. Why? Why it is not open to choice? If you, in fact, what happens is that's the freedom you want. Basically, everyone wants to become free from this punya or papa. One does not want oneself subject to punya papa, because those punya papas bring varieties of the situation. Sometime pleasure and sometime pain. If I tell you one more thing. So, punya is considered a not welcome thing in Vedanta. Really. Punya is not at all welcomed. That's how in our sansara we include not papam. People think that papam means dukkham and therefore we want to avoid. No. Vedanti wants to avoid punyam also. Because punya will bring the situation and for the pleasure, etc. And suppose your punya is such which will not, which gives a pleasure situation of a pleasure may not be possible in this life. You will have to born again for that. You will have to born again. Second thing, if pleasure is not there in your life, you won't have a pain also. Pain is always a relative to the pleasure. And that's how if any situation which has given you a pleasure, after that once that goes away and the situation changes, you feel so upset about it. If pleasure is not there, the dukkham will not be so much dukkham for you. If I have not experienced the pleasure, the pain would not be a pain for me. But because I am experiencing pleasure and then I equate, well, I was having such and such situation, such a favorable situation, etc. And compared to that, well, this situation is looked upon as a highly unfavorable. Makes you very, very unhappy. So punyam is not at all welcome thing. And so punya papam, one definitely wants a freedom from both. One who can discern that. One who does not discern, for him everything is, you always work for punya. That's how people work for punya. But this person wants to become free from this. That alone gives rise to this janma and maranam, etc. This punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, etc., etc. Even the human body is because of, we have seen yesterday, the human body is because of this nearly equal mixture of punyam pap. Ubabhyam eva manushya lokam. Punyena punyam, papena papam, ubabhyam eva manushya lokaha. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says this. Punyena punyam. You gain a punya loka. And so once you experience Swarga Loka, like if I go back to India now, just think about my situation. You people are here, nothing to worry. But if I go back to India, I tell you, I will be in a miserable situation. Because certain facilities, certain comforts, etc., etc. Then once you go from that, slipped into a relatively, discomfort level, that you feel more. You have been brought up for 50 years or 55 years in India, no problem. But once you come here and then go back, you will be you feel like you will be in hell or it's not. But what I am saying is, you will definitely compare. Mind will compare. There is no way that even Swami's mind will compare. I tell you, it will always compare. Oh, it is so heat here. There it in Poconos because there was no heat. This was not there, that was not there. Anyway, what I'm saying is, it's not welcome thing. It's not at all welcome. We put punyam and papam both in equal category. Vedanti wants to avoid both, basically. That's how Karma Yoga is good. Kamya Karma is not good at all. Kamya Karma means what? Kamya Karma means you are doing some karma by which you want a desired result. And there must be Punya Karma. Definitely you want a desired result means what? You have to do Punyam. So we want to avoid Kamya Karma. And Nishiddha Karma also we want to avoid. Because that will bring Papam. If you do what is Nishiddham in the Shastra, don't do that. If Shastra tells, and you do, means you will incur Papa. So we want to avoid Kamya Karma and Nishiddha Karma both. Karma Yoga is good. That's nice. So which will remove all obstructions. Previous obstructions. Previous all obstacles are there in terms of Papam only. Which deprives you in the pursuit of moksha. So that Pratyavaya is gone by this Karma Yoga. That's the best thing. So that is how people say Karma Yoga is a great Punya Karma. No. It may generate Punyam, that's another thing. That's a contention. This Mimamsaka says, well, definitely it does not generate Punyam. Mimamsaka says it will remove Pratyavaya, it will remove obstacle. Vedanti says it generates Punyam. It may generate Punyam or it may remove the obstacle, whatever it does. But ultimately Karma Yoga is the one which definitely helps you in your pursuit. Not Kamya Karma, not Nishiddha Karma. Either way there is a problem. So anyway, Jiva wants basically a freedom, and whether Jiva discerns it or not, that's another thing, but that's what exactly he wants, and this is the in fact basic want behind all the wants, that one wants a freedom. Freedom from Punya Papam, freedom from Janma Maranam, freedom from limitations, freedom from dependence, everything. And therefore, I'm subject to all this, Sukha, Dukkha, etc. So, well, this is the only chance. That's what they say. This is a chance that has been given to you. So, we have put you in the chakra of this Janma Mrityu, but if you want to come out of it, this is a chance. And if this chance will come after ages. This chance, being born as a human being, will not come again. So how can you say like that? I think you are giving some kind of you are doing some emotional blackmailing, I think. I'm not doing emotional blackmailing. If you study Panchagni Vidya, etc. in a Chandogya and a Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you will find to get this human birth is so rare. It is just an opportunity. It's just an opportunity. Given once, that's all. If you remember Swamiji's, Swamiji used to tell this, that opportunity always comes once. And somebody knocked at the door, it seems, and the person inside did not answer. The knock came again, and this time the person who was inside asked, "Who is that?" So one who has knocked said, "Opportunity." So then the person inside said, "You are bluffing." Well, why do you say so? The person from inside answered, "Because you knocked twice. If you are opportunity, you won't knock twice. Only once. That's all. That's an opportunity. Grab the opportunity." Pujya Swami says, if you don't grab this opportunity, you will be crab. That's so if you don't grab, you will be crab. That is how you used to tell. That you always used to making such kind of a thing. But that's correct. Even though Swamiji may be laughing or something, but that is correct. After ages and ages, you will get an opportunity again to jump out of this cycle. So either you do lot of punya or papa you will not do, I know, but basically even if you don't want, papa karmas will be there. You don't want, but some lie you will speak. You don't want you to be dishonest, but some dishonesty will happen. You don't want violence, but violence daily happens. Daily happens, even without your knowledge. It is happening. You just boil a water and that's it. You boil water and that's it. You clean your teeth, that's it. There is a violence, I tell you. And so you cannot avoid, papa. And the pressure of likes and dislikes is so much. Even if you don't want, because the dharma is right sitting in the intellect, but one cannot avoid papa karmas. Even as a sadhak, I'm telling you, it's so difficult to avoid. And basically, even in a punya karma itself, papa is lying. Any kind of punya karma involves papa, which is invariably goes. That's how we have prayashchitta also. In every punya karma, we call puja, etc. Everywhere, in all religious activity, we have prayashchit karma. Why should we have prayashchit karma? Because it's a punya karma. Any religious activity is a punya karma. Then why should have a prayashchitta? Prayashchitta is for removing punya or papa. It is for papa removal. And therefore, basically, I, as a human being, either you keep on doing this punya, etc., or grab this opportunity to jump out of this. And so never waste your time. This chance will not come again. This is what has been conveyed here. Ihached avedit, mahati, ihached na avedit, mahati vinashti. There will be a big loss. So if one misses this chance, well, many kinds of other bodies are waiting and to fructify. So it's a loss that one cannot make up perhaps for ages. So the loss of this upadhi is a great loss. Loss of this sharira is a great loss. People commit suicide and people waste here and there in all kinds of activities, which is useless activities. Such a invaluable gift has been given to you, so that the wealth you have, you are limitless. Well, such a potential you have in this life to know you are limitless and become free forever. And that freedom, which is definitely, even if you have not discerned, but that's what you want. That's what you want. In fact, that's the basic want behind all the want. We have seen that. No one wants a freedom. No one wants a security. No one wants happiness. You want to get rid of insecurity. So you want to have a freedom from insecurity. You want to have a freedom from the sense of limitations and sadness, a sense of discomfort. And that is how any amount of security, so-called security, is not able to satisfy you. It is not able to give you security. Any amount of the objects of happiness they are not able to give you happiness. Basically a sense you want to get rid of. You want to be free from the sense of insecurity, sense of discomfort centered on the self. That is what you want. And well, so if you discern, that is called Purushartha Nishchaya. And for that you have been given this upadhi. This upadhi is just meant for that. In any other living being, either a crab or animal or anything, you will not have this chance to do. Well, definitely. So the loss of this upadhi, or this sharira, is a great loss. Because it is meant for moksha and you have lost it. So the loss is infinite. I don't know when again the person will get such a chance. Anyway, so basically this is the goal of life, is to start to live. And Puja Swami says, well, living implies being alive to all these realities. So one has to know what is the reality. And well, if you question further, it definitely ends up in gaining freedom from being a wanting person and moksha. Moksha is the reality for me and I am seeking in my life, and therefore this is a moksha sharira and it is meant for moksha. So it's an opportunity. If it is lost, well definitely it's a very, very big loss. And definitely, so this is how it will be described. Further we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.